Everyone. I don't see too many people doing skillet rankings. I've seen pretty much every other band. Granted, someone has probably done a skillet ranking video, but I want to give, my thoughts, my credences on these albums. So we're going to go in order of chronological release here. Start with their self-titled. I actually just listened to most of this album. It's it's been an early formative stage. It's got some of the brightest guitar work you'll ever hear from Skillet, in my opinion. It's very sunny feeling, you know, um, very light on the distortion. Actually, this is pretty much their post-grunge album before they introduced a lot of electronic elements in the follow-up. But yeah, Um, this one's okay. It's not bad. I like Boundaries. I Can is okay, and Splinter is pretty good too. But the album feels a bit, I don't know. Some of the guitar work doesn't feel great. And John's vocals, while I do think they're good, they're not the best they could be, if that makes sense. Although he was much younger at this time, so you gotta take that with some credence. I think I'll put the self-titled wit in. We'll put it in B tier because I don't think it's that bad. I think it's like I have to think about this. Um, yeah, we'll leave it in B tier. I feel like the album has enough saving graces to bump it up there, but it's definitely not their best work. So, moving on, 2 years later, we get Hey You, I Love Your Soul. Now, this album is also ish. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think Corey joined the band at this point. Um, and she was doing lots of electronic stuff, so they basically shifted their entire sound to a more electronic. We get this. Not to say that's a bad thing. Um, Trying to remember. More Faithful is a good song. I also like. I can't remember the song. I remember the timestamp, but I don't remember the song. But I remember that one was a good one. Um, but I did try to listen to this, and it was just. I don't know. John really likes to use the wispy falsetto vocals on this one, which works, and also sometimes doesn't work. Um, I think I'll put this. I think I'll put it in C tier because I think the self-titled has more songs that redeem it. This has about one or two, maybe three. I can't remember, to be honest. I think this has about like two songs that are pretty good, and then there's just not much else to really see. So yeah, that's where I'm gonna put it, C tier. Moving along, we have their 2000 album, Invincible. I'm sorry, this cover art. It's the most mm, thing out there. Uh, so, um, this album actually sees a lead guitarist leaving. I don't remember his name, but I remember his placement was Ben Kasika. I pronounced that horribly wrong. But yeah, this is the last album to feature their previous lead guitarist before Ben. Um, so now we have to rank this, and this one's hard. Best Kept Secret is okay. That one's not bad. I think this album, the most notable song from this album, is the One Real Thing, which I don't think it's a bad song. It's not terrible, but like the memes, bro, the memes. uh, um, I don't, I don't know where to put this one. Oh my gosh, you. Actually, wait, no, this wasn't the last one. I think Alien Youth was the last one to feature their previously guitarist before band. I'm completely off the ball. Leave me alone. I really don't know where to put this. I mean, I don't really know what to say about this album. It's the riffs are better. That's for sure. The riffs on the self-titled were Riffs on "Hey You, I Love Your Soul" were pretty good. The riffs definitely got better here as well. I don't know how to feel like this is some of the longest skeleton song you'll ever see, over 10 minutes. Um, I don't know. I guess it's interesting for that fact. I feel like this album is really interesting. Um, is all I'm really saying about it. So I guess we'll put it in. Oh, you gotta be kidding, dude. Why can't I decide? I think we'll put it in C tier for now. I might change my mind later though. So a year later, huh? A year? Um, so yeah, a year later they released Alien Youth. Now this one, um, was the last album to feature lead guitarist before Ben joined. Ben did actually do guitar work on this album, but it was only for Earth Invasion, which is a great song. So is Eating Me Away. But I'm gonna be honest, I didn't really care for this album much. Other than that, it was fine. It wasn't great. Um, I don't know if you're like, I'm not too much into industrial rock. I think the only industrial rock album I really like is Darkest Days. Is My Darkest Days by Stabbing Westward. So I'll be remiss if I don't, you know. Uh, I mean, it's okay. I really do like Earth Invasion Eating Me Away. Those are two really good songs, but I wasn't really feeling the album by the halfway point, and it was just. Mm, nice hair, by the way, John. Cover's really nice. We'll put this one in C tier as well. Might change my mind later, but I doubt it on that one. Okay, and now we have the Skillet album I've probably listened to the most. So in 2003, they had a complete musical shift from their industrial rock sound, and they basically went alt metal. People would say maybe new metal, but no, no, just no, no. I'm sorry, I can't in good conscience call this new metal. It has the music on here is really good. It's really nice, heavy. Some of uh, Skillet's heaviest stuff they would ever make. But none of it really screams new metal. Maybe in a few places, but not really. This is more alt metal than anything else. Again, I understand that new metal sometimes is more the look. In order for me to classify as something as new metal, it has to sound like new metal, and this just doesn't sound like it. Although they definitely do have the look. This album cover is pretty edgy. Not gonna lie, but yeah. I actually personally relate to this album the most. Um, there's songs like Collide, Fingernails, and Imperfection. Those are probably, especially Fingernails and Imperfection. Those are like two of my favorite Skillet songs ever. Collide is also personally a song I really relate to. Um, just because it really does strike a chord with me. But yeah, this album is great. Under My Skin is a great tune as well. Everything on this album is just good. There's nothing wrong with this album. I don't feel there's anything. I mean, this is pretty much the only Skillet album to have like high-end growls or screams. Um, on pretty much every song, I believe, except for maybe Cycle Down. I'd have to re-listen to it. I don't think there's one on there though, but yeah, no. I really feel like this album should also get more limelight than it does. It's one of their best albums. Um, I can understand why it doesn't, though. You know, a lot of people really caught wind of these guys. Like, Clyde pushed them further. It was definitely more successful than the previous efforts. But things really blew up for these guys when Comatose came around. But I know, yeah, this is without a doubt like my personal favorite Skillet album. It is just that good. So it's going straight in S tier. You can leave it in the comments, save it for later. This album is it deserves nothing less than A tier. It is that good in my opinion. Um and just everything on that album is so good. Even the slower jams are just top notch. But man, good stuff. So, moving ahead, we actually get a bit of a time difference here. Um, After Collide, they started releasing their albums every 3 years instead of every 2 to 1 years. And thus we get Comatose. Now, Comatose is again a huge musical shift from Collide. I actually think as Collide and Comatose is basically companion pieces to each other because Collide is talking about, a lot of actually pretty dark subject material. Not like too dark, but like, you know. And by the end of that album, you can clearly tell that, like, you know, things are going to change. And Comatose is, in my opinion, about someone who is in a, maybe not a comatose literally, but like in a comatose with God. I might be reading into that too much. I don't know. Um, yeah, it's just really good. It's definitely shorter than Collide. A perfect 42 minutes, which is a pretty short album, but it's a really good one. My personal favorite songs on here are Better Than Drugs and Falling Inside the Black. This is also one of those albums that have like 8 singles. Like, I'm not a fan of albums that have more than like 3 singles attached to them, mainly just because, you're spoiling like pretty much almost the entire album at that point, considering most full lengths tend to be between 10 to 12 tracks long. Um, yeah, no, this is a really good album. Comatose, the top track itself is really good. Um, yeah, no, yeah, really good. I think this goes in S tier as well. I have both of these albums on CD for a reason. Then we get to Awake. um, and Awake is interesting. It kind of completes the trilogy. Because Clyde is about talking about all this stuff and trying to move on from it. I guess again, Collide has a lot of themes on it that you really just have to go hear for yourself and make your own opinions on. Um, and Awake is kind of the end to that trilogy. Because Awake talks about, I guess, someone waking up from their comatose. Feel free to kill me later. Anyways, yeah. Awake is really good. I'd actually said that this was my favorite Skillet album, but sitting down and listening to it more, it definitely isn't. Collide is my favorite Skillet album, as I said before. Awake is still really good though. I love how there are still strings on this album, but there's definitely a lot of slow jams on this album, which is fine. Skillet can make some really good slow jams. The only real problem with that is that like 75% of the album is made up of slow jams. Um, there's barely any fast-paced songs. There's a decent few. You got your Heroes, Monster, biggest Skillet song ever. Monster is probably what got me into rock music to begin with. Um, Sometimes is really good. Love those verse vocals, and that chorus is great. Um, and even some of the slower gems are really good, like Lucy and Never Surrender. Forgiven is really good. Like, this album is pretty good. I don't think it's as good as Comatose or Collide though. And which is why it is going to go in A tier. It gets good, but doesn't get that good, if you know what I'm saying. And with the trilogy of albums completed, well, where do they go from here? Well, we would soon know the answer. So, they actually took a 4 year break for this one. And in 2013, we would get Rise. Rise is an interesting album. It's full of heavy rock songs, slower ballad type songs, pretty much every kind of song, even more industrial stuff from the earlier years is on here as well. You can definitely hear more electronic effects going on than in these albums. Um, and I guess this is, and a lot of the, and this would kind of spell almost the beginning of the end, maybe, because Scale would kind of go on a downward spiral from here, unfortunately. Um, Rise is still actually pretty good. The title track, great. Love the energy that it's got. This also marked the debut of their arena rock sound. I think this also features Seth on lead guitars. I could be wrong on that. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, I think this features their current lead guitarist Seth. I forgot his last name. I'm so good with names. But yeah, Rise, pretty good. Everything Goes Black is great. American Noise is okay. Um, Sick of It, one of the biggest Skillet singles next to Monster, so you know. Um, I mean, I don't have much to say about it, other than yeah, really good stuff. I think I'll put this in A tier too. I don't think it really goes anywhere else. But yeah, Unleashed, 2016. Unleashed is a fair amount of really good tracks. Feel Invincible, Back from the Dead, Saviors of the World, and The Resistance. Probably one of the best um, Skillet songs ever made. But then we have songs like Out of Hell and probably anything else that I didn't list. It's a very album for sure. It definitely does not live up to pretty much any of the previous albums before it. It's an arena rock album, which they are good at it. Skillet is very good at arena rock until you're not. um, I don't know what to say other than B tier it goes. I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's great though. Yeah. 2019 Victorious. This people really liked Unleashed. Unleashed, people were fine with. This is where people were like, okay. This is where I'm gonna stray a bit and actually say I really like Victorious. I think it's a pretty solid album. All the tracks aren't great on it, but a fair amount of them are. I absolutely love Legendary. Legendary is okay. I think it's a fine song. But I like You Ain't Ready. Rise Up is a great song. I love Rise Up. It gets me pumped. Um, Back to Life is a great song. Reach, great song. Let's see. Dreaming of Eden and Sick and Empty are bonus tracks, but I'm gonna count them because they're great songs. Gotta think here. Uh, I have to look up the album on Spotify now to remember. Let's see. Hmm. All right. Yeah, yeah. I actually really like this album. I'm gonna put it in B tier along with Unleashed. It definitely has a fair amount of tracks that are just okay. Not really outstanding. This would, but I actually like a fair amount of tracks on this, and it's probably one of the Skillet albums I listened to the most when I was um, kind of on a Skillet high. So yeah, B tier. And oh boy, Dominion. I wanted this album to be good. I wanted Skillet to go one of their back to their comatose or collide sound. They didn't do that. It is another arena rock album, and it is unfortunately the worst one. I really, I don't know how to sum up this album. There are still, much like the other albums, there are a few good tracks. Um, the title track, "Standing in the Storm," and yeah, I think that's about it. Just those two. I really enjoyed those two tracks. And everything else is kind of Feel Incredible is okay. Destiny would actually be really good if it had a different chorus. Same with Destroyer, Ignite, and maybe not Ignite, and Shout Your Freedom. Because a lot of songs have different vibes in the choruses, and then it really does sound like Skillet is just forcing that big arena rock chorus into the song just because arena rock chorus. It feels. Refuge is a nice song. It is a sincere song. It just sounds a bit much like Rocking with Robbie said, generic. Um, to put it in plain terms. Um, and like it is coming from a good place, but like musical variation, please. And then the album closes on one of the weirdest album closers, White Horse. It is about the second coming of Christ. How do you mess this up, dude? I'm sorry, no ill will meant towards John or anything like that. No ill will towards the band, but like it could have been a much cooler song than it ended up being. And again, a lot of the choruses feel like forced big arena rock choruses to, pump up the crowd. The album just feels like the arena rock has finally worn itself off. There's nothing here. The only really good songs, as I said, are "Standing in the Storm" and "Dominion." Maybe "Surviving the Game." That riff is actually kind of cool. Yeah, no, this is just the worst arena rock has gotten for them, and I really hope that on the next one, I really hope they go back to a collide sound or a comatose sound, or even an awake sound. I'm fine with that as well, because as they are now, I have a feeling if they keep doing arena rock, their next album is gonna be, dear gosh, there might be one good song on it, and I really hope Skillet does something, or they go back to a sound to get back to basics, because they're they do feel a bit complacent at where they are, and I really hope they do. I want better things for this band than this. So I'm going to put Dominion in C tier because I there's there's still two good tracks. I don't think it's absolutely abhorrent. This is what D tier's for. Nothing in their catalog is absolutely abhorrent, in my opinion. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I might have rambled on some of the albums for a bit too long, but yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and yeah, I don't know. See you in the next one. Bye.